Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends, get your gaming goodness every Saturday. My name's Dylan White. Joining me on the couch, Ashley Hobley.
Dylan, I've had a look at the rundown for this episode. I see you're missing a story, so I'm just going to have to jump in here because there is a massive release that's going to be shaking up the kart racing scene. Releasing on the 5th of November. Garfield Kart Furious Racing. Featuring 3 game modes, Grand Prix, Single Race, and Time Trial with your favorite characters, Garfield, Odie, John, Nermal, Arlene, Liz, Harry, and Squeak, across 16 tracks with online multiplayer and local split-screen support, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Was we sponsored and I didn't know about it, or?
No, but we should be.
Because that was really
give us Garfield.
I was going to say that was a really good ad if this was actually an ad, but...
Well, you see how good my sponsor voice is, people?
Yeah, reach out. Reach out. It's a pitch inside a pitch inside a pitch. Yeah, Garfield video game. Not the show for it, but my first thoughts as soon as I saw that was a thing. You want to guess what they were?
I hate Mondays.
No. No. My thought was, what are the trophies like? That's
true.
But,
do you ever end up picking up the Nicktoons one?
No, because it was overpriced is what the problem was. They could have made like a $30 budget kart racer and I would have picked it up. You know, that shit was like $60, $70, something like that. You know, like full price shit. I'm like, get out of here. I'm not fucking paying that much for this thing. I emailed the publisher. Hey, blah, 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 you know, blah, blah, blah. Can I have a review code?
We've talked about your thing like back 5 times.
I
dedicated an entire episode of the number 1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias about Nicktoons.
Yeah, not to be like, well, they owe me a code, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just like, but
just saying,
just to say that I did email them, and the reason we never talked about it and covered that game is because I'm not rich, so I wasn't willing to buy it.
What?
Explosion Network doesn't make the money to cover buying that fucking $70 kart racer. I would have liked to have covered it more, but yeah, that's the way the cookie crumble on that one. So, you know, the same fucking thing will happen for this Garfield game. Unless it's $30, I'll reach out. Can I cover your game? It's probably as a meme, but can I cover your game? And it probably won't happen, let's be honest. So, I don't know. Who's making it? Does it say?
No.
Anyone we know? Some random person?
I don't have a developer.
Yeah. We'll find out. Look for, what's it called again?
Garfield Kart Furious Racing.
I like how I asked him what the title was, dear listeners, and he automatically switched back into that promo voice.
It's necessary.
It was on tone. Yeah. So today on the show, apart from talking about Garfield, as we just did, we're going to be talking about a lot of other games primarily. There's not much news this week, I don't really think. So we're probably just going to spend most episode talking about what we've been playing, which is primarily the biggest game. Well, the biggest release is Fire Emblem. It's not the thing I put the most time into, but it is the biggest release I think that we're going to discuss. But let's get into the news first, and got a couple stories here. So firstly, at QuakeCon last week, they announced that Doom 1, 2, and 3 would be releasing on all consoles, re-releases, and including the Switch, which is the place where most people were picking them up because they're like, hey, I can play Doom 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch, on the go. That sounds fucking awesome. Great idea. Let's do this. But people then got turned into a bunch of memes because Bethesda required you to log into your Bethesda account to be able to play these games, which a lot of people then start turning into memes of really old games on Twitter asking for you to have an online connection to be able to play it. And that was pretty much the jokes all day long. So in this IGN article, they have a bunch of tweets here, including like Kirby's Adventures, your Bethesda accounts need to play this. Mortal Kombat, Bethesda accounts need to play this, and so on and so forth. So
that doesn't make sense. Those aren't Bethesda games.
No, but you know, it's the meme. Bethesda, after everyone kind of kicked up a fuss, because the day it dropped, it was pretty much all I was seeing on Twitter from a lot of people was jokes about it or like talking about it and all this sort of stuff, because it is quite ridiculous that these really old games would require you to have a fucking online connection to play them. It's like, why would that be a thing? Bethesda then come in a day later and said the Bethesda net login requirement was included for the Slayers Club to reward members for playing the classic Doom games. Bethesda said the login should be optional, and we are working on changing the requirements to optional now. We will update everyone when a fix is ready. You would really think, though, that just taking out the simple thing of requiring you to be signed in would be fucking easy, but apparently it's not.
I mean, is there anything more Bethesda than a game multiple years old coming out and being bugged?
No.
So,
they somehow managed to make games that people love worse upon re-releasing them. Somehow.
I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Oh no, I had to set up an account. I mean, it's not necessary, and probably, but how many people have already got a Bethesda account because they played any number of Bethesda games online?
It's actually funny because I'm going to talk about Wolfenstein in Youngblood a little bit later. But I played the entire campaign of that with Buddy Watson over at -gamer.com, -culture, of course. And when he first logged into the game, was in party chat already. And he's like, what the fuck? It's asking me to log into some Bethesda account. I'm like, yeah, like it should just do it automatically if it's synced to your PSN, because that's what mine did. Like my Bethesda account's synced to your PSN account, and then if that's how, once you've got it set up, you never have to think about it. It just logs you in automatically, obviously. You wouldn't notice it. And I never noticed it. I just started the game up. Off I went. I was like, wait, it's asking you to create an account? He's like, yeah. I'm like, have you played a Bethesda game? And then we started going through it, and he's like, he has not played any Bethesda game apart from like The Evil Within or something we found out. Like other than that, he had not touched a Bethesda game and did not even have a Bethesda account to fucking sign in with. So yeah, it's a side story of you're thinking about people that probably play Bethesda games. Like a very small number that mustn't have a fucking account.
Buddy Watson hates Bethesda.
Yeah, there's the
hot. Wouldn't even buy the game he played from Bethesda.
There's a topic. So this was quite weird. But on the whole, like the Doom games coming to consoles and stuff like that, I think it's pretty cool. They're quite cheap too on the Nintendo Switch. They're like $8 or a little bit less than $8, I think, for the first two. Maybe the third one's a little bit more, but around $15 maybe or something like that. But either way, they're not very expensive. And being able to play something like that on the Switch on the go is where most people were trying to buy them and play them. And honestly, I thought about it for a hot second as well. I think I saw Nick had picked them up as well. So have Doom on the go. It's cool. Not probably not the best place to play them, but it's a good game to be able to just shoot some shit with online. All right, so memes out of the way. GTA 5. A game that you and I play a lot of.
So much.
You know, we're known to be grand theft rock stars. You know what they say?
Oh, look, somebody else just bought the game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And somebody else.
And I've never played GTA 5. So that's...
Yet.
I've brought it twice, though, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Brought it twice, never played it. So that makes perfect sense. Anyway, they dropped their online casino update or expansion, whatever you want to call it, and it had an interesting thing happen to it. So where it's because it's gambling, it's been banned in like 50 countries where you basically can't access any of the content that comes with this update because it's obviously a casino and you're gambling and whatever else. But I just think it's interesting, especially when you bring it into the conversation of like loot boxes and people consider that gambling and, you know, regulations and all this sort of stuff. And you can gamble in this game. You're gambling obviously with the in-game currency, whatever they call that, GTA cash, Rockstar money, whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
Cards, but, I don't know.
Fuck, I don't know. But it's like you get that money. You can get that money by spending real money, right? And I think the highest amount you can buy in the PlayStation Store is like $150 or some shit like that. Like a fair chunk of cash you can chuck at this online currency. And then you can take that $150 into online currency and then gamble with that online currency now to potentially get more. And even though it's online currency, it's still, in my eyes, it's legit gambling to me. I know you can't turn the in-game currency into real money. Like you can't back end it to your PSN account or something like that. But at the same time, the same people who can get addicted to normal gambling that thing just clicks in their mind where they get that addiction. I don't see why the same thing couldn't happen here for these sorts of people. Like if you're easily prone to gambling addictions and you fucking put $20 on here, you go gamble it away, you're like, fuck, I lost it all. Next second you're putting $20 more, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to buy a fancy car in the game, you're trying to buy skins, you're trying to buy fucking apartments, whatever you do. You know what I mean? So yeah, how do you feel about an online casino, and like, do you think that's actually should be like highly more regulated? Because I quickly go over, I suppose it was banned. It is banned or basically banned in 50 countries, and ranging from Afghanistan to Iraq, Cuba, Lebanese, Pakistan, Poland, United Arab,
I enjoy that the Cayman Islands is banned in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's banned in a fair few places, and at least has restrictions and stuff. So, and honestly, this is the kind of thing where I opened this list and I was like, wait, is this story from PlayStation Lifestyle going to tell me that it's banned in Australia? Because I'm not really following the GTA stuff too closely, but I wouldn't have expected it. I would have, honestly, if Australia was on the list, I would have been like, okay, yeah, Australia's pretty with this loot box shit and whatever else. So, yeah, how do you feel about it?
I guess technically it is gambling. I mean, but from a certain extent, you just buy in-game currency. You can spend that however much you want in-game. If you just buy, you can just waste it all on shitty skins or whatever, but I guess you get something in return for that.
But now you get the gambling. It's,
Yeah.
You now literally have a way to gamble it.
Yeah.
Before you could just spend it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird crossover, I guess. Or like, it's a weird line that we haven't crossed before. I assume there's sort of these other setups in like somewhere online. They've got gambling rooms or whatever that you buy credits for.
Oh,
but
probably.
I assume a lot of those is like you use real money. But
I just think this is because it's such a the biggest selling game in the world.
Yeah.
Played by millions and millions of people. Potentially a lot of kids. Access to their parents' credit cards who don't think twice. These things happen as much as maybe like, who would do that? But they happen. So, and then also I didn't actually I went on, so Rockstar Games website has a blog post up, of course, explaining what this update is and what comes up and all this sort of stuff. And I actually think the way it's displayed in this blog post, it's somewhat, and of course they want it to be attractive. They want you to go there. Yeah. They want you to spend time in this expansion and spend money and whatever else. But I actually think the way it's presented, even all the way down the bottom, they've got this diamond program thing. And you wait to the diamond program for exclusive benefits and unlock this diamond t-shirt and whatever else. The whole post is laid out like a legit fucking casino. Basically. It looks really predatory. Like it really looks like it's trying to sell you to come to this luxurious place, even though it's just this section in GTA Online. And I know they've got missions and stuff there, and I guess if you play the game, it's super exciting. But yeah, I'm kind of on the side of this one where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, because it is gambling, it is real money you can spend. The thing is with it is, if the only way you could get online money to the money to gamble is by playing the game, I wouldn't have a problem. It is simply the fact that you can spend real money, and a lot of real money is easily, very fucking easily, and then take it and gamble it. And I 100% believe that if you're someone who's prone to addiction, gambling addiction and stuff, this is just going to scratch the same fucking itch that it would at a casino, because people don't do it to get rich. They do it because it's an addiction. It's not about like, oh fuck, I'll do it till I get $1,000. It's because of the feeling, so.
Yeah, it is a bit of a slippery slope. You would hope there'd be some sort of in-game subscriptions, especially for minors and that kind of thing, but I suspect there probably isn't.
I don't think there is.
There's not.
They check it out. The game's rated R. The game's rated R. Oh, if your kid's playing it, they shouldn't be playing it. That's how they get away with it, I suppose. So yeah.
I guess it's interesting. It's also at the end of this article, it says it's worth noting that gambling is illegal in places like Hawaii and Utah, but it is still available nationwide in the United States. Whether it's just that they couldn't stop it location-based for some reason.
Yeah, and it also says for other places, like most of those countries are just using VPNs to get around it.
Yeah.
because that's how easy it is these days.
Well, someone's going to get sent to prison because they were gambling in GTA Online, and that's illegal.
What a story.
Looking forward to that story coming in a couple months.
Yeah, what a story that'll be. All right, so yeah, the GTA 5 thing is interesting, and I'll follow it. As soon as if I see anything in the news about it or any crazy stories that happen in the couple months, because I honestly would kind of expect someone to be like, "Oh, I got addicted to it," or blah 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 blah. But we'll see.
In Mali, apparently, it's only legal for foreign visitors. So if you're visiting Mali, you can play, and it's
that's
legal.
Such a weird rule.
But if you live there, it's not legal.
That's really weird. But yeah, sure. What an odd law that is. All right, so in some kind of happier, well, not kind of, in happier news, we have some, geez, that was a weird way to say that. We have some software and hardware sales from Nintendo because they just had their stockholders or whatever you want to call it, yearly report, financial report, revealed a bunch of stats about stuff. So story comes from NintendoLife.com, both of these. The first one's about the games. Or yeah, we'll talk about the games first, sure. So as part of Nintendo's latest financial report, which revealed that Super Mario Maker 2 sold a whopping 2.42 million copies in just 3 days. So just that's not on their top 10 list here, but I think that alone is like, holy fuck, that is
that's high.
In 3 days, 2.42 million copies. Holy bejesus, people love their Mario, and you will tell that people love their Mario when we go over the top 10 best-selling Nintendo Switch games as of 30th of June 2019 right here. So going from 10 to 1, you have Mario Tennis Aces at 2.75 million.
Not
1-2 Switch. What's got Mario? And I think when it came out, there was fuck all happening as well.
Yeah, and people like their Mario Tennis games.
Well, they thought
Mostly.
they did. They thought they did, and they got it. And they, because originally I was going to get it as well. I was actually looking forward to it because they added the single player campaign, and then those reviews came out a couple days beforehand where people were saying the single player campaign is actually pretty shit, and I was like, oh, that's kind of the reason I was going to get it. So, and they were saying it's not like doesn't have much of a story, and it was just all these trials and stuff. So, at number 9, you've got 1-2 Switch at 3.01 million. I think when talking about 1-2 Switch, it's worth, as they say below here, it says it's worth noting that these numbers are both worldwide sales that include retail, digital, and copies bundled with hardware all combined. So I think 1-2 Switch, obviously a lot of those come from launch days where a lot of people are picking up, and then bundles and so on and so forth. Then at number 8, we have new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe with 4.10 million. That's quite high considering it's a re-release of a re-release of a port thing. Yeah, but once again, Mario, people just love their Mario thing, and I also think it's worth pointing out here because you got this, and then a couple other things. No, I suppose this is the only one that really counts. But just looking at numbers on this, it's hard for Nintendo not to justify things like Link's Awakening and
remakes.
All these remakes or ports, or how the combination of all of them is just like, because you got up above this, spoilers, we've got Pikachu as well. So, Let's Go Eevee/Pikachu as well. So it's hard between this top 10
on this list.
There's a few that make it like so justifiable for why they keep remaking or porting Wii U games, and then also remaking old games. So yeah. At number 7, you have it's 6.99 million for Super Mario Party. That's quite fucking high, I think, for a Mario Party game.
High.
Very, very high for a Mario Party game. I do wonder if it was just like, I don't know, like it's so much higher considering the last few have done poorly. Like I think they've done, they've done okay sales wise, I think, but they reviewed pretty poorly the last several. So 6.99 is pretty high.
They went back to basics.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah. At number 6, you've got Splatoon 2 with 6.02 million sold.
Wait, 9.02.
Sorry, yeah, 9.02. Sorry,
that's high.
That's very high, but at the same time, 100%. It's Splatoon is becoming this very popular and well-known IP from Nintendo, and it's actually really good. I'm glad. I haven't put as much into Splatoon as I'd like to because I did play it for a couple hours and I was enjoying it, and I was like, yeah, and then something else came out and I never actually got back to it because I picked it up at the start of the year. But I'm really glad it's doing as well as it is, because a lot of the time Nintendo falls back onto their known IPs, you know, what they're known for, the Marios, the Zelda, the, you know, whatever else, Donkey Kong, etc.
Yeah.
So for them to have a new IP from the last, even just 10 years or whatever you want to call it, that's doing quite well for them, I'm happy to see, because they just fall so much onto their old shit so often.
1-2 Switch. That's a new IP.
Oh, come on. Name the character from 1-2 Switch.
Switchy. The Switch.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, because we got Inklings over here, which I think I can actually name and like make plushies out of or something. Yeah, okay, so number 5, we have Pokemon Let's Go Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, 10.98 million. I fully expect...
In less than a year. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That is pretty good, but I would also say that I would put a bet on next year, if we're looking at this exact same list, that we'll be seeing Pokemon Sword and Shield above that. Above that. Now, you may be like, well, yeah, but Dylan, all the hardcore Pokemon fans are hating on it. Yeah, don't care. They're
hating on it now until
they're hating on it now.
Until it's available for purchase. Then,
yeah, exactly right. That game is going to increase the hardware sales, which we'll talk about after this, and it's also going to sell a fuck ton. So, and then at number 4, we've got Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild with 13.61 million sold. I think if you look at this, you could be like, oh, surely that should be higher. But then when you see what 321 is, you're like, okay, that kind of actually makes Zelda fitting in there kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. So at number 3, with 14.73 million, you've got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Port.
Games. Yeah. Well, it's a port plus, I guess. It's a port, but they're at least adding stuff.
Oh, no, I guess most of it's... They're including everything, so I guess it's not exactly a port.
They're all here. It's not a direct port of the Wii U one, but it's the same... What do you want to call it? It's the same base of the cake, just with some other things up there, I guess. Yeah, so that's quite high, obviously, and it's not...
That makes sense. It is the most supported game on this list.
Yeah, and one of the Nintendo's most popular franchises, and it's only been out for less than a year, so I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, it did come out late last year, didn't it?
Came out late last year, so it hasn't even been out that long. So next, at number 2, we have with 14.94, so only a little bit above it, Super Mario Odyssey. And I think this makes perfect sense because obviously launch year, or wasn't it? I think it was launch year, roughly. October? No, it was the next year. So
it's the next year, yeah.
It was still, like, the first year the Switch was pretty starved for content, I guess.
It had Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild for a fucking year. That's all everyone had. And these days there's a million games playing the Switch. But anyway, Super Mario Odyssey the following year came out, obviously. Destroyed fucking what's a face that launched up against it, in my opinion. But Super Mario Odyssey, Mario game, new Mario game too, and a 3D Mario game, one that everyone's probably going to jump on, which everyone did. 14.94 makes perfect sense. Number 1, this is a port. Number 1 game selling on Switch is a port, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 17.89 million, a massive leap above either the number 2 and 3 positions. Massive leap.
But it's Mario Kart.
It's Mario Kart. It's like the game that if you own a Switch and you don't own Mario Kart, it's equivalent of owning a game console, not owning GTA, I suppose. I don't own GTA, but I own Mario Kart. Yeah, I it's just one of those games, because it's everyone has to have it, because if you ever have friends, if you ever magically make friends,
if you have friends, then you need to play it.
You sure do, exactly. And we put our fair share in here on Explosion Network. We streamed a fuck ton of it, so
yeah.
Every time I look at Kieran's profile on his Switch, which he never plays anymore, it still says that it's his highest played game, and I presume all that time was solely from streaming it. So
probably.
I'd assume none other, but yeah, so they're the top 10.
He was the winner, right? The winner of the Explosion Network Invitational.
No, I don't think that's true. I think that's fake news. I think that's hashtag fake news. Unless he wants to come on here and debate me. Hashtag fake news. I won. I wasn't even there, but I won. Come on, fight me. Yeah, so that's the sales, and that's quite well. It's like software Switch is doing good. Some good games on there, some good numbers on there. Some good Marios on there. How many fucking Marios is there, by the way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally half the fucking literally half the games are old Mario games. But there you go. So, and on to the next thing, we also had some stats about hardware sales, how well the Switch has been selling, also coming from Nintendo Life listings as well. So it says, yes, Nintendo's current machine continues to fly off the shelves as Nintendo shares new data on its success. Last official figure we received placed the console's lifetime sales at 34.74 million as of March 2019, meaning that it sold around 2.13 million units over the last 3 months.
So it's currently 36.87 million as of June 2019.
Yep. So, and we have access. They've put together this nice little graph here too that helps you place it in comparison to other Nintendo consoles as well, which is quite good. So, we'll start at the bottom of their list here. So they've got the Wii U, GameCube. I'll read them out of order, not to spoil anything. Wii U, GameCube, NES, SNES, Switch, Wii, 64 on here, and right at the bottom you have the Wii U with 13.56 million sold.
That's crazy. More people have bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch than have bought. Actually, the top 3 have all been purchased more on the Switch than people bought Wii U.
When you put it into perspective like that, it's really funny, actually. Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty good. GameCube is above that at 21.74. And then above that, you've got Nintendo 64 with 32.93. And then above the Nintendo 64 is where the Switch slots in. So Switch at 36.87 is just above, not just above, a fair way above the 64, but it's only been out a couple of years.
Some would say.
I mean, the stats say it's been out a couple of years, I think, as well.
Yeah.
To back that one up. So it's sitting here nicely. There's only a couple of things above it, and the ones that are above it all make sense because they were like the ones above it are all the most popular Nintendo consoles, and obviously it's not going to surpass those anytime soon. But for only being out 2.5 years, I guess, or whatever it is, doing pretty fucking well. Doing pretty damn well. And they have the software sales total next to this as well, which you can compare to everything below it. So the Switch's total software sales is 210 million. And if you compare those to the ones below, so 64's total was 224, so not much difference. The GameCube was 208, so it's already above that. And the Wii U only sold 102 million software sales. So will surpass the 64 software sales by the end of the year. And it's already fucking killing the rest. So the one it might surpass by the end of the year, actually, I would say it might. I would be willing to put $5 on it, is the SNES, which the SNES is right above it with 49.10 million units sold. And so you've got a fair way to go there. But honestly, I wouldn't put it past it to surpass it between Pokemon and Christmas and sales and the Nintendo Switch Lite and whatever else is, we're about to hit the sales time of the year, obviously.
So and you think it'll do another third of its lifetime sales in the next 6 months?
12 months. Let's say 12 months. Say 12 months. Let's say 12 months. Well, less than 12 months. I reckon it could do it in less than 12 months. That's what I'd say.
Okay. I mean, it has a chance. The Lite coming out, obviously, that's a bit of a push, and obviously with the special edition Pokemon stuff, it'll be a lot of people buying them for Christmas, but I don't know how, especially with the new consoles on the horizon, are people going to save up for those? It'll be interesting to see.
If I was to remember this 12 months from now, we could come back, but I don't know if I'll actually remember. But I would say that put it in the calendar. Yeah, I would say it surpasses the SNES.
I put my thing with Kieran in the calendar for 20 years' time, so.
Did you really? Holy shit. Fucking hell. Okay, I'll try and remember to put it in the calendar then. I'll say it. This time, in less than 12 months, it will surpass the SNES, I reckon. That's my $5 bet. I don't know who the $5 is going to. Well, if I lose, I'll take it. Decide.
$5.
All right, I'll give you $5 this time next year if it doesn't surpass the SNES. Anyway, the last two above that. So above the SNES is the NES with 61.91 total sold. I don't reckon the Switch is going to surpass that in the next 12 months. Just
Probably
double
not.
its fucking sales. And then above that, sitting at number one, unsurprisingly to anyone, is of course the Wii with a total hardware sales of 101.63 million. The Wii was fucking massive. We all know that. And every time you look at one of these things, you're like, wow, everyone had a fucking Wii. Literally everyone and their grandma had a Wii.
Yeah, they were pretty cheap. That's why.
Yeah, they were cheap and they came with stuff and
people liked waggling stuff.
They sure do. They still do, believe me. See them on the internet doing it. There's this website I go to called... the software sales for the Wii is 920 million total. The NES has 500 million. The SNES has 379 million. So, that 920 is so fucking massive total software sales. I don't reckon the Switch would ever... I don't know. It depends how it does in the last couple of years of its life cycle, I guess. But it's like...
Switch is 7-1. 7 games per console, whereas this Wii is like 9 to a console.
Yeah, so they would definitely have to put out a bunch of games or over the next even over the next 12 months, I guess, that would have to be considered like must-own titles, I guess, that like the majority of Switch owners would pick up, I guess, to increase that.
Then Fire Emblem's coming out. They've come out. You got the Astral Train later in the year.
Astral Train is not going to be a pickup.
You got that. What else is coming out on the Switch?
Daemon X Machina, Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon. Everyone's going to buy
Mansion.
Pokemon.
Everyone's going to play Pokemon. That's the only one I think that would have a high rate, I guess. Maybe Luigi's Mansion. I don't know.
Animal Crossing next year. Everyone will buy
Animal Crossing. That's true, yeah. But yeah, so that's interesting stuff.
Numbers.
Numbers are always good. Numbers always...
Of course, all these are dwarfed by the Nintendo DS.
That's true. I'm not comparing it to those. I know they have them there, but I'm
it's
like...
It's a handheld.
It's
the worst selling handheld of all time.
Has someone write that hot story, or should I write it up? That's a very clickbait headline. I'd get the most hits on our website ever if I wrote that story.
Yeah, we probably should then.
No, I'm not going to do it. I can't sense that level. I can't
hate commenting.
If I didn't want hate commenting, I wouldn't have wrote that Sekiro article.
You're ahead of the curve on that. So
I was way ahead of the curve. All right, so talking about Nintendo, talking about Fire Emblem, let's get straight into it. So Fire Emblem 3 Heroes released late last week. And of course, we briefly said that this last week because it was like, yeah, we're not going to talk about it. This week we're going to talk about it. I have put, I think, somewhere between 6 to 8 hours now is roughly what I think I've put in there. How much have you managed to?
About an hour and a half. I said last week I'd try and steal my brother's copy of Fire Emblem when he was sleeping. The game is so good, he hasn't had to sleep. So
he hasn't slept for a week. He should be on this podcast.
It's getting to the point where I might have to buy my own copy, which is a bit extreme, but
how's that work? How does having two copies
to buy
work?
another copy? What? How do you have two copies?
Do you mean buy your own Switch?
No, we've got 2 Switches in the house.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay, that makes more sense, yeah. Because I was like, what? Wait, what? I was like, are you gonna buy another copy? But how does that work if he's playing the fucking Switch? But yeah, you got that off one.
Yep,
last
my little brother.
Yeah.
Littlest brother.
The direst of times to steal the little brother's present that you got.
Yep.
that's dire times. You've played enough to have some sort of opinion, though, I guess.
I have thoughts.
Thoughts.
Well, I barely got through the tutorial, so
yeah. Well, hour and a half. Come on, most games hour and a half is enough to do something. But I've never played it. Well,
most
put it
games,
straight away.
not this game.
Yeah, that's true. I'll put it out there straight away. I've never played a Fire Emblem in my life. Have you ever played a Fire Emblem before this?
I dabbled in the mobile game, but that's about it.
What's that one called again? Legends, Heroes, whatever it is.
Legends, I want to say. Actually, I've got it here.
Oh.
Should just look it up.
I was gonna say, I think it's one word like that. It's like Heroes, Legends, some shit like that. I know it's one that people spend like millions of dollars on. Millions and millions of dollars on. There was some story on Reddit where someone spent like 50,000 something. Heroes, there we go. Yeah, okay, so I've never played one before, so anything I say, try and remember that. I'm really fucking enjoying this game though. And honestly, this is the highest praise I can kind of give it, to put it this way. I don't know if this will work for everyone, but it makes me wish it makes me wish the Explosion Network just stopped existing for a couple weeks. And by that, I simply mean I have stopped playing it to play other things or write things or watch things purposely because I've done these things for Explosion Network content, right? First world problem. I know this is all a first world problem, but I'm saying I am enjoying the game so much, and this is a rarity. That's why I'm bringing it up. This is a rarity. I am enjoying playing it so much that I could honestly, I just wish I could stay in bed all day and just play it, just morning to night, and just do that until I've finished it, because that's how much I am enjoying my time with it. So that's my high praise for it.
It is high praise.
Yeah, that's high praise. It's currently game. I'm only like 6 to fucking 8 hours in, but it's currently like game of the year potential, all over it as far as I'm concerned. I like the characters. So we picked the same house, right? Didn't we?
Golden Deers, baby.
Yeah, Golden Deers. This is a hot question, of course. It's like, what house did you pick for the game? So I picked the Golden House. I'm loving all the characters. I'm loving the combat. But I suppose for as good as I can, without any potential spoilers, because I know if anyone's listening to this who hasn't played it or hasn't started it, I understand that people get upset about spoilers for these games because obviously they're spoiler heavy. But you start the game, you either pick a male or female, and then some weird stuff happens, and you bump into 3 leaders of houses, and then eventually you go back to this like giant place, this school place with them or whatever, and then you end up having to pick one of their houses to become a teacher of, because you just randomly get
you just get randomly told you're going to be a teacher at this place now after being like,
it's not even a joke. Yeah, it's not even a joke. It's literally like, hey, you're a teacher now. You're like, okay.
Did you ask if I wanted to be a teacher? No. Okay. Yeah.
What's my salary? Like, what are my benefits? Do I get health insurance? Like, none of these questions are asked. But anyway,
do you want to see my qualifications?
Yeah. Do you want to see? They're like, no worries.
Seems like a lot of responsibility. They appear to be the same age as all these students.
At least half of these students, yeah.
It's a bit weird. But
it's a bit weird. You end up as a teacher, and then from there you begin training up the kids, and the game's broken into. Basically, it's broken up into either very Persona-like sections and then the tactical combat. And by Persona-like sections, I mean you literally have a calendar system. It'll go day by day, and then on like free days, much like in Persona 4 or 5, on your free days, you can choose to do a certain number of different tasks, and those will help level up your relationships with people. Or you can spend that time like bettering your own skills as a teacher, or fishing, planting stuff, whatever. And the fishing and planting don't use like energy, I guess is what it is. So it won't take away
action points or something.
Action points or something? Yeah, something like that. They don't use action points, so it's like a good habit to get into, to remember to do those as much as you can, because they don't actually use action points. But then like you can have a meal with 2 of your students, and they'll up their happiness. And presumably, if you want to, I think from what I can understand, you can only romance girls in this game, really. So if you want to romance one of the girls, spend time with them to build your relationship with them, like meals and so on and so forth. This is where you're doing all that sort of stuff.
Because teacher-student relationships are not frowned upon in this world.
No, not in this world. Well, to be fair, if we're saying that this person's like, no one's like underage. From what I gather, no, it's no weird stuff going on. I don't get any like
it's
weird
a power dynamic that shouldn't be crossed.
Yeah. If you can go there with the argument, but at least it's not like some weird like older teacher thing going on or whatever else. But other than that, spending time having meals with your students as well is good, because you need their mood up, which helps them with their schooling stuff. So that's the other part.
Got to get them motivated to
motivated
learn.
Students to learn better. Yeah, that's right.
And the best way to motivate them is give them food.
Yep. The secret of life. So that's all your free time stuff, and that stuff all feels very Persona-like to me. And then you have the.
Have you played Persona?
Fuck you. I fucking nearly platinum 4 and I got halfway through 5. Shut up.
Sorry.
Jesus. I'll finish it. We've been over this. I'm not playing it until that other one drops. They fucked them. They if they wanted me to play it, they shouldn't announce that remake thing. They weren't thinking of me when they announced that. That's all I'm gonna say. So then when they get to the schooling stuff, you can either do it like automatically and just be like, yeah, just do what you need to do and whatever. I'm doing manual schooling because I don't know. I kind of I've changed the way some students are trying to learn. So they have like preset tasks or like job titles they want to be. So it's like some characters are like, I'm training to be a heavy mace user, not mace, like a heavy javelin user or a heavy sword user or whatever. You can change all of that if you want to. And some characters I have actually changed because I'm like, I kind of want you to be this. So I've been manually teaching students what I want them to learn. And then you can also do lectures and all this sort of stuff. But it's not too complicated. It's not complicated to the point where I'm like, these numbers and stats and whatever it's doing in my head. It's simply just being like, well, I'll just change this to this and do it or whatever. It just takes a little bit more effort. And that's all the schooling and social stuff, basically. And then the tactical combat stuff is, well, it's really good tactical combat. If you like tactical combat stuff, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like Fire Emblem stuff because you can have up to like 10 people on your field. Sometimes you get even more than that. You can assign, after a couple of hours, you get the ability to assign like I don't know what you call them. I can't remember the official word for it, but like a whole mob, a whole group of people to certain characters, which means that when you can do like a special attack and they'll charge in with like a whole group. So although when you're looking at it from a bird's eye point of view, you may only see your 10 characters laid out. If you zoom all the way in, you can see that like you may actually be doing battle with like 100,000.
Like an army.
Like a full-on army. Yeah, exactly. So I kind of really like that. And the combat's good, you got things like if you go into grass, you'll take less damage, or the forest will take less damage. You go to height and terrain, people won't be able to get to you, but you can fire arrows off there and do more damage. And, it's pretty atypical stuff, I think. Like your archers will die faster, your magic users will die faster. The way you go about positioning characters is very important. I learned very quickly that you can actually see what your enemies are going to do. They'll actually, when you're in your turn, it'll tell you who they're going to attack when it comes around to the enemy's turn, and you should take that all into account. I'm playing on normal and classic difficulty, which means that if any characters die, they are gone forever. However, I'm just refusing.
How's that going for you?
Yeah. Yeah, my one story with that is I was waiting for the game to tell me, okay, now, just so you know, if you lose any characters in this battle, they're going to die, because I thought that would happen. It never happened. And I lost a couple of characters in the battle, and I just kept playing. And then like 45 minutes later, after I spent a whole bunch of time in like the schooling section of the game and whatever else, I come around to the next battle. I enter the battle, I've got like 5 people. I'm like, who the fuck is half my team? Luckily, because I'm a hardcore gamer, I obviously do the thing where I rotate between all the save files.
Yep, you got them 5 save slots. Make sure you use all of them.
Make sure you use them all. That's my hot tip. So luckily I was able to load back a save and fix that problem, and now I'm making sure I never lose anyone. And you can do that pretty easy. The game's gives you more than enough options to make sure you can never lose anyone. So it's like, why even playing on classic mode? Why not just playing casual where you couldn't anyway? I think it's because even though I'm never going to end a battle without losing anyone, it's still making me actually have to play, like actually learn to be able to do it. Either, you know what I mean? Like if you're playing on casual mode and you can never lose anyone, like if they die, they just pass out and they're revived at the end of the battle, you're going to play a lot more aggressive, I guess.
Risky.
Loose. Yeah, risky, exactly. So even though I'm never going to end the battle, because you get free rewinds per battle, so you can rewind to any point. You can rewind to literally all the way back to the start of the match if you want. You can do it however you want to do it. And even if you use up all 3 rewinds, which I did at one point, you can just pause, restart and click restart all the way from start. But any XP that you've earned during that battle carries over. So if you ever hit a wall, I think you could technically, as bad as it would be, you could technically just grind for hours potentially. Just like playing, getting XP, and restart when your last person's left or something like that. You know?
Just before you win, just rewind and start again.
I guess, yeah. So you could do that to grind out XP if that's really what you wanted to do. But between the ability to restart from start with no negative effect other than having to restart, obviously, and the 3 rewind you get, I'm never going to lose anyone. I'll just rewind or restart. I'm fine. I'm happy to play that way. Yeah, I'm loving the combat. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the story. I'm just really enjoying the game, and I can't like talk about story stuff specifically and which characters I like really without spoilers, I guess. But yeah, after your hour and a half, what are your feelings on all this stuff? If you want to start where I started with the Persona like stuff, I guess, because you're someone who's finished Persona 5, fuck you.
Yeah.
Do you have similar thoughts or?
Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, again, I haven't been able to see much, but yeah, there seems to be a lot of characters. You did way more characters in Persona, but to interact and that sort of thing with, though, and enticed to join your house or whatever.
Yeah, you can get everyone to join apparently if you do it right.
Good enough. If you do enough, you can get everybody to join. But yeah, I've been waiting for my opportunity because I desperately want to play it more. I might just have to get some chloroform or something. I mean,
oh Jesus! We went from stealing the younger brother's Switch to stealing your other younger brother.
Yeah,
not the youngest, but the other. Yeah, okay, we're going all over the place.
It's
taking out your brothers,
yeah.
Killing them, whatever. Yeah.
No, just knock them out for a little while. Just let them take a rest. But yeah, definitely keen to check it out more. It seems like everybody's loving it online, so yeah, very cool. And yeah, it's interesting to read that the storylines are very different depending on what house you've got. They feel very different. So rather than just be a skin on top. So
yeah, from what I gather, it seems like overall they're the same, but it's just the experience with the characters that you get. You know what I mean? Like, so the overall story will be the same, but it's the day-to-day characters that you're interacting with and what that stuff is going to change, obviously. So it just depends on how. It's not different enough that when I finish it, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, I better start again. Because A, I don't have that time, and B, it's not grandiose, big enough change for me to be like, oh, I better play through all fucking 3 houses. Better do that.
Yeah.
Better move on to my Black Hawks or whatever.
That's all right. I'll just listen to the guys at House of Mario talk about it.
Yeah, they better finish all 3 by their next episode, or else I'm going to call them fucking fake Nintendo fans, Jesus.
Yeah.
Get your shit together over there. Yeah, so I'm overall really loving it. I really enjoy the art style as well. I'll give it that. I think it looks really, really good.
Yeah, it does.
It has a really nice art style. It's not it's like proper 3D, which I kind of wasn't expecting. Like because I didn't watch too many of the trailers, I guess, because apart from the ones in the directs where I was shown, and I wasn't attached and wasn't paying too much attention. Now that I'm playing the game, I'm paying more attention to the little details and stuff. And I literally saw a YouTube video where someone pointed out that the difference between the male and female model isn't just like a quick reskin. Like their hair physics are different and all this sort of stuff, which I thought was quite nice to see that much effort went into different character models and whatever else. So yeah, and all the characters feel really different. All the houses feel different, and they all look different, and they all have unique styles and whatever else. So yeah, it's just everything I would like to be playing all the time if I could. One story I did quickly want to go over tied to this because I thought it was interesting because the story dropped the day I started the game, and I was like, this feels weird at the time, but okay, sure. So the story comes from Games Radar. It says Nintendo will replace Fire Emblem Three Houses voice actor amid allegations of sexual assault. Nintendo has announced it will replace the voice of Fire Emblem Three Houses male protagonist and amid accusations of sexual assault by voice actor Chris Nyosi, who played the male version of Byleth in Fire Emblem Three Houses, wrote a detailed blog post in which he accounted a number of issues back on July 17th. Within the statement, he admitted to, quote, horribly mistreated and abused friends, colleagues, and even significant others, and insisted it was a, quote, PR stunt, or was not a, quote, PR stunt or some form of damage control. In a brief statement addressing the situation, Nintendo said, quote, after assessing the situation, we decided to re-record the characters' voiceovers in Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Heroes with another actor. The new voiceovers will be included in a future patch. Nyosi has been replaced by fellow voice actor Zach Agilga, who's credited as Byleth in the latest Heroes teaser trailer. I just want to quickly talk about this because obviously it's an interesting story because a lot of people who haven't played the game I've seen online being like, holy shit, how the fuck is Nintendo going to record that much voice work? Like, how are they doing this? That's going to be massive. As far as I've seen so far, the only time that Byleth makes any noise is in battle. And it's grunts or sighs or like big like power attack move type stuff. Within the game, your protagonist doesn't speak when like spoken to or anything like that. You know, you'll choose voice options and respond to people, but they don't actually say it. So I read this story right before I started the game, and I went in like feeling a bit weird because I'm like, is this going to feel weird to start this game after just reading this story about them having to replace someone amid sexual, obviously that's a bit weird. But then when I started it up and I realized quite fast that it's just grunts and stuff in battle, I was able to be like, okay, this isn't as big as a deal. But yeah, still Nintendo was pretty fucking fast to be like, yep, we're switching. That's it. Replacing all the lines. Sounds like, I guess, however you want to say it. But yeah, what do you think of this?
I mean, it's a good move. Obviously, it's a bad publicity thing, just having that name attached. And it's good that Nintendo's moving quickly. I guess, it's like a Japanese company. We had that story earlier this year or last year. With
Judgment thing?
Judgment.
Start of the year.
Yeah, not surprising. But again, I didn't even realize the character was called Byleth. I just put my name in, so.
Oh, did you? Yeah. See, yeah. I have this thing, when I was younger, like side note on this real quickly. I had this thing when I was younger when I played all the Final Fantasy games, because they would let you rename the characters. And when I was younger, I renamed them all, and I'd name them like, I remember specifically in Final Fantasy 9, I would rename like the knight, my brother's name, and then I'd rename like Vivi to Donald and some other character Goofy, because at the time I was obsessed with Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that. But then when I got into like my teenage years or late teenage years, whenever I play any RPG now, I always leave the character's name as its default. And it's because as I started getting older and I started like reading and watching more video game related material, they always refer to the characters as their default names. And I was getting so confused because I would be reading Final Fantasy 9 like stories and trivia and whatever else. And I'd be like, oh, Zidane did this and Dagger did this and Steins and whatever. All these characters. I'm like, who the fuck are these characters? Like, I don't know any of these characters because I renamed them all. So yeah, after that, I suddenly got to a habit of just leaving the character names default, which means that whenever I read Byleth now, because I've left the character's name as Byleth and I've played the game for my 6 to 8 hours, whatever it is, I now know Byleth is the name of the character I play because I didn't bother changing it. Yeah, so that would be an interesting poll to do of like a large amount of people. I feel, grab like a decent sized chunk of people who play games and be like, do you change the name or not? That's actually like do that. Chuck that up on Twitter. I'm intrigued now to see if anyone answers that.
Okay, after this episode comes out, I'll put the poll up.
So it's pretty interesting actually. So, all right, so a couple other things to talk about this week. I'm not going to spend too long on this one because if you want to hear me yap on about it for like 15 minutes or so, I did talk about Wolfenstein Youngblood on this week's episode of Platinum Explosion, episode 121, I believe it is. I talked about it on that for like 15 minutes or so, and that was prior to writing my review, but I do have my review up now. I say in my review, ignoring the bugs I counted for a moment, because I did have some, I've enjoyed Wolfenstein Youngblood. It's an odd entry into the franchise, and I'd love to know the thought process that led to its creation. But for those seeking a 10 to 12 hour co-op shooter, you could certainly do worse than this mixed bag. And I gave it a 6 out of 10. So it's okay. I believe on most review scores, it's fine. It's okay. It has a lot of issues. It's a really fucking weird game. And I mean that in all honesty. I would love for someone to explain to me how they came to the decision to make the game the way they did, as they did, because it wants you to replay missions, do daily missions, do weekly missions, all after coins just to get fucking a mediocre selection of skins on the guns you've got. It's really weird how they've tried to tack in this Division, Destiny like looter shooter type thing without the loot. So a non-looter shooter, I believe is the phrase coined on Plat. A non-looter shooter is what they've made here. But when it comes down to it, and it's really got... the other thing is that the first couple Wolfenstein games are all known for their story as much as their combat. Those games have a lot of cutscenes, especially the second one has a fuck ton of cutscenes. Like, I think for people who haven't played the Wolfenstein games, you'd be quite surprised to jump in and realize just how much of those games is story driven and character driven. And this game has barely any of that. It has like a quite lengthy cutscene at the start, and then there's quite lengthy cutscene at the end, and in between that there's barely any character development or story. So it's a really weird compared to the other games in that front. So I honestly don't know who the game's for. I don't think it's for Wolfenstein fans, because unless you're hardcore and want to play them all, I guess. But for Wolfenstein fans, there's not enough story here. And for first-person shooter, looter, non-shooter, shooter fans, it doesn't have the mechanics to quite sit there. But it's like if you're willing to take a mediocre, not much story, and a mediocre non-looter shooter, it feels fun to play. The combat, the guns feels good as they do in the main games. And killing Nazis is just as fun as it has been for like the last several entries to it. So it's just, I don't know who the fucking audience is for this Wolfenstein game at all. And I don't think I will ever know. So let's wait until Wolfenstein 3 comes out. Inevitably will come out for sure. And then the other thing I played today, and I recorded a Let's Play that'll be up on YouTube by now for it. So I played Damsel, which is from the Brisbane studio, a little old Brisbane studio. Do you know Ash? You know the Brisbane. You know the Brisbane.
I know studios. Brisbane.
Do you know?
Not everybody here in Brisbane knows each other.
It's funny
Brisbane
because whenever I say, everyone assumes that I know anyone who lives in Tasmania.
No, we don't.
Why do you think that is? Even though it would take you like all day to drive around the entire place. But anyway, so you don't know Screwtape Studios is what you tell me. But anyway,
no.
they released this game, it was last year. Damsel on Steam last year. It's pretty decent reviews, I think, from memory, or at least a couple negative ones, but primarily I think I remember seeing good ones. It's a 2D side-scrolling action platform. I don't know, it's like, it does have double jumps and stuff, but it's not really a platform. It's more just an action game. Older levels are really short, which is why I think it's actually really good that's coming to Switch. It releases on August I think it's out next week. I should have double checked this, sorry, but I think it's like the 7th or something like that, maybe 6th or 7th, I think is what it is. Either way, it's next week. It's after this episode drops. But it's each level's really short. They'll take you like a minute, maybe 2 minutes top to complete some of them. So that kind of makes it best played on Switch, I think. I've since recording my Let's Play for it, I've kind of just picked it up randomly in between. Even while as I was cooking my tea, I did a couple levels and then put the old Switch on standby, and then after I finished that, I picked it up, did another level quick. So I think that's kind of the best way to play it in short little bursts and stuff like that. It's because older levels, some of them will just be like, kill all the zombies. No, they're vampires, sorry. Kill all the vampires in this level. Cool, do it. Another levels will be like, collect all the things on this page and blah, 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 blah. But some of them will literally be like, blow up these 4 things, and you do that and it took you like 40 seconds and you're like, cool, I'm on to the next level. Do what I need to do here. I've only played what? I've nearly completed the first thing, so I've probably played, well, let's just have completed the first comic book, because it's got this comic book storyline that's going through it, and the levels are separated within this comic book, or the stages, I guess, are separated within these comic books. So I've basically finished that one, and not quite enough to say how I fully feel about it, but I would say that I'm enjoying playing it. It at times feels a little sluggish. Like I've had frame rate drops that have caused me to like misjudge what I'm doing, or like overjump or something like that. And that's happened both in docked and handheld a couple times. So that's obviously quite annoying for a game that you want like fast paced action to happen in. Anything like that's quite annoying. But other than that, I'm not sure on the price either. So it kind of depends on if you want to pick it up. But for a game you could jump into for quick rounds of action, kill some vampires, shoot them up, I'm enjoying that so far. I will probably do a review next week, by the end of the next week, by release, maybe, depends. So be sure to stay tuned for that, or at least check out that Let's Play if you want some more to see what Damsel's like. And then the last game I want to talk about this week is Lego Towers. So Lego Tower, what are you laughing about? I'm going to 100% admit why I started playing this, which is because I, for 2 weeks in a row, heard Andrew and Renee on What's Good Games fucking non-stop talk about this game for 2 podcast episodes in a row. And if you want to understand, this is the simplest example of what an influencer is. If you ever like, what is an influencer and what do? Here's what they do. They go on a podcast, they talk about, because she got given this game, she got given $5 credit or something by, they emailed it. What, I can't remember the developer's name. Oh, fuck, does it say here? I bet you it doesn't. Doesn't know anywhere. Nimblebit, right? So on What's Good Games, Nimblebit said, hey, can you play the game? She was like, oh, cool. I didn't even know this was coming out. They gave her $5 of in-game currency. That started her up. And she has not been nonstop talking about it for the last couple of episodes of What's Good Game. But that's what an influencer is. They emailed her. They said, here, play this. And now because she's fucking not stopped talking about it, I was like, damn, I better check out this fucking Lego Tower game. And here I am now on my own podcast being like, hey, Nimblebit didn't tell me to play this, but I am enjoying it. So Lego Tower is a very simplistic mobile game. It's not one that you play for long periods of time. It's kind of one that you'll pick up and play for, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll put down and probably come back to it at the end of the day. It's kind of when you pick up in your morning and then at the end of the day. You can pick it up you can pick it up whenever you want and achieve extra things, but the primary bulk of stuff that you're going to do is just a couple tasks here and there at the end of the day, because it's all about running a tower. Of course, that's in the name, and they're all Lego, and you got little minifigs and people move into your tower, and you give them jobs, and that's that's basically the game. So you'll have floors, and you'll have like a cafe, for example. So you start a cafe, you put some minifigs in there, they start working. All of a sudden, they'll tell you you're making this gold per minute or whatever, and you need more gold to buy more floors to extend the building, and inevitably that just goes on until you get sick of playing it. There's no real end goal, obviously. So to get more minifigs, you have to build more apartments to hold minifigs that can live in your tower, and then when you get more minifigs, then you build more shops or recreational places or whatever places that can actually earn you money, and then you put the minifigs to work in there. You can put any minifig working in any shop. However, each minifig has a job that they would actually like to work in, and that's randomized when they come in. But that will triple the rent, triple the money they give you, basically. Yep. If you put the person who says, I would love to work in the mailroom, and if you put them to work in the mailroom, they'll triple your rent. So every single place I have got, apart from one place, and I'm up to 16 floors. So 15 of my 16 floors, I have all 3 people in places they love to work. So, and that's because every single time if you've got empty apartments or empty spots in your apartments, minifigs will just randomly show up, or you can get like random events will happen where someone shows up.
So you've been evicting people who don't.
Yes. So that's what I do. So if I'm after, like, if I'm like, oh fuck, I just built, what have I got here, for example? Health club is like one of the more recent things I built, right? So I build a health club. I got one person. I usually build something for one person I already have. So let's say I have one unemployed person that says they would love to work in a health club. I'm like, cool, I'll build the health club there for you. Then I employ them in the health club, and then some random people will start coming through. And someone will walk into the apartment and they'll be like, cool, I'm living here. I'm like, yeah, okay, what do you do? And they say, oh, I would love to work in a sports bar or some shit. I'm like, that's cool. You're evicted.
Yep, cool.
And, someone else comes along and they're like, I would like to work in a ninja training place. I'm like, I've actually already got a ninja training place. It's full. You're evicted because I'm after fucking people to work in a health club at the moment. So that's how I run my joint. I run a hard yarn.
Yeah.
Hard.
It's a good strategy. Makes sense.
I like how blown you're blown. You're like, oh, that's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go about it. So you can also get friends. I don't have many. I tweeted out my thing. I got like 6-ish people that add me, I think, randomly off Twitter when I tweeted out my thing. And you can like mark workers as people you want. And then if they get them, they can send them to you, and vice versa. And the same is for parts, because there are characters in the game. Like one of them looks exactly like Indiana Jones, basically, but says it's called the Cowboy, for example. And if you get like the body part, the head, or the torso, the head, and the hat for the cowboy, then you can build this minifig, and the minifigs, these special character minifigs, will pay you. I can't remember the exact amount of rent, but I think they pay like even more than 3 times the rent, basically. So you can put them to work as well, and you can request those parts from your friends, and that's why you need friends, and they can do what you need to do. But one of the other reasons I quite enjoy this game as a mobile game, well, it's just, that's what I said. It's easy to play. I check in the morning when I wake up, and I've been playing it since, I was playing it last week when we recorded, but I think I only started the day before. So I would have been playing for like a week and a half-ish, I guess now. And basically wake up, check it. You got to restock your shops, obviously. So a shop will sell through its stock after a couple of hours, and then you got to order more stock, and they'll take a couple of hours, and so on and so forth. So, I check it in the morning, restock all my things, see what's happening, and then I might check it in the afternoon and do the same, and then I might do it in the right before bed and do the same then. So I'm only picking up 3 times for the day for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I quite enjoy that. It gives me, just checking in, see what I'm doing, see what's happening. And I'm enjoying it on that front. It's not like a big time sink. It's not a big investment. Doesn't require too much time. And the microtransactions, I think, are very good in this game. You cannot, the number one currency that you would want to buy if it was easy to spend money on microtransactions would be gold, because gold is what you need to build new levels in your tower. That is the number one currency that you need. You cannot buy gold, which means if you're someone that's
in any way, which is annoying.
It's annoying, but also at the same time, it's very good for people who are prone to easily spend money on microtransactions in this game. The only microtransaction cash you can buy is for the currency that's literally called cash, I think, or whatever.
Bucks.
It's not got bucks. Okay, bucks, yeah. And bucks you can buy randomized booster packs of like minifig parts to get that you can use to literally just change how literally everyone in your tower's avatar looks. Cool. That's not as exciting as the gold, obviously. So you're not going to do that. So yeah, and it never egregiously pops up and asks you to spend money either. Not once has it popped up and been like, hey, do you want to spend money? Do you want to do this? Blah, 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 blah. You literally have to click into the menus where it'll tell you to spend money. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this, honestly, at the moment. I'm like, yeah, I'm color coding stuff and shops and designing the way. I'm like, I've got this whole idea about how my tower will build out and whatever else. But you jumped onto it, Ash, and a couple days ago when I talked to you when we last recorded Platt, you told me you stopped playing it, and I told you to keep playing it. So now you've jumped back onto it, so you could pretty much talk about it on this show. So what are your thoughts on the game I just said I'm really enjoying?
It's fine. It's okay. It is, I play, it's pretty much a Tiny Towers clone. So if you played Tiny Towers back in the day, it is exactly the same, except with the Lego skin on it.
Yeah, but the Lego skins are cute. I like the Lego skins. Don't you think it's cute?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's enjoyable for short periods, so yeah, I might just keep doing it across. I did find it interesting. I added another friend just at random. I never put my code out, but it's because it's a 5-digit code. Someone must have just accidentally put the code in.
What is your code?
It is 1KZHX.
Oh, you already added me.
You already added, yeah.
Oh, well, now I got to find you here and rename you. 1K. Oh, this is you, right? Okay, so I can rename you from 1K to actually Ashley Hobley, and be like, now I know who the fuck you are, my thing. And now everyone else listening can add you too when you go download Lego Towers. Hashtag I lied before. This is sponsored. No, it's not really. This is a joke.
No. But thanks, Nimblebit.
So that's what we've been playing. I'll tell you what, it's been a while since we've had such a mixed bag of titles, I think, to talk about between
3 very different titles.
Damsel, Fire Emblem, which is basically Harry Potter,
4 different
Lego
titles,
Towers, all over the shop, all over the place. Great. Video games are cool. Enjoy all your video games, everyone. Hope you like playing games. Thank you for joining us on the couch this week. Make sure you check out explosionnetwork.com for all our other shows, reviews, news, articles, and much more. Review Arcade Couch on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser to help out the show. Or if you don't want to do any of those, you can simply review the episode via a tweet, Facebook, I don't know, Instagram, Snapchat story. Do any of those things. Well, actually, not Snapchat. We're not on Snapchat, so don't do that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hashtag Patreon exclusive Snapchat coming soon.
Someone's going to take out username of Snapchat.
That's going to be it. Do any of that, and we'll, of course, like that and love that, and retweet it, and that's a good way to help out the show. And you can follow Explosion Network on Twitter and do all those things at Explosion Pod. You can join our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And you can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. And you can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. And we'll see you here next week. Same time, same couch. Bye-bye. Every trophy counts. Don't be told otherwise. Join myself and Ash each Tuesday when a shiny new episode of Platinum Explosion dings into podcast feeds. The #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias breaks down all the latest in PlayStation-related news, releases, trophy lists, and much, much more. Just search your podcast app for Platinum Explosion and subscribe for free now.